Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about Webull, a cash account versus a margin account. Why am I holding credit cards up? Because that's what we're talking about when it comes down to margin. I'm gonna break it all down for you. But first, I gotta say that a lot of you have been asking on my other videos, what is the big difference between margin and cash? And as always, when you comment on my videos, ask and you shall receive. Now, of course, I gotta welcome back my sweet lifer subscriber family. Welcome back to another video. And if you're not part of that family, make sure you subscribe, because on this channel, we talk about personal finance and everything so you can become a future millionaire and live your ultimate sweet life. Now, question of the day, have you used margin before in a brokerage account? If you have, comment below. What kind of strategies did you use? Was it successful? Was it not? Let's hear from you. And if you're wondering, well, that's why I'm on a video, because I don't know what margin is. Don't worry, I got you. In good fashion, as always, I'm gonna pull up my screen right here on my iPhone. Now, don't worry, I'm also gonna show you the desktop version as well, because I know a lot of you, some of you use the app, some of you use the desktop. We're gonna break them both down today. And make sure you stay with me through the entire video, because I have another bonus tip to make sure that you're maximizing your Webull experience so that you're growing your portfolio over a long period of time. And I want to show you a way that you can make sure you're on track with that opportunity. So make sure you stick with me. Let's get through it with the app first. I'm going to break down exactly what all of these numbers mean, because a lot of you had a lot of good points in that Webull beginners tutorial that I had. I'll link that video up above if you want to check it out. But let's break this down. This is my portfolio currently at the moment. You can scroll down here, you can see all of my positions currently at the moment with Webull. This is not financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. Don't just copy what I'm doing. You got to do what's right for you and what you're most interested in. But at the top, you can see it says net account value, and right now it's sitting at about $9,200. That number will fluctuate because, of course, the market fluctuates every single day, every single minute. But that's the net account value. That means all of the shares of stock down below here that I just showed you, with anything that's in my cash balance, that's right here, which is $55.90. If you add those two numbers together, that's what gets you to $92.55-ish, okay? Now, right down in the middle of the screen, you can see another example. That market value is $91.99.39 plus $55.90 in my cash balance. That equals the net account value. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. Do you see down below here, it says day trade BP, $24,363. And then you see overnight BP, and that's sitting at $9,020. What in the heck does that mean? That is what margin is. Now, here's an important point. You may be opening your Webull account right now and saying, wait, I don't see that. What's going on? What's wrong with my app? Nothing's wrong with your app, my friend. What happens is, let's say you just opened your Webull account. Let's say you put in $100, because if you sign up with Webull, they give you free stocks. And then when you deposit your first $100 that you can freely trade with, they sometimes give you additional free stocks. Click the link down in the description below to see what kind of promotion they're running, because sometimes they can give you 1 stock, 2 stocks, 3 stocks, 4 stocks. It's worth checking out. But if you only have $100 in your account, you're not going to see the margin. You need a minimum of $2,000 in your Webull account in order to activate margin. So once you build your portfolio up to $2,000, whether you're seeing growth out of your stocks or you deposit $2,000 or more, then you'll get access to margin. Now, Webull says in the day trade BP, and day trade means when the market is open from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, you can trade up to 4 times your net account value in margin. Mine's a little bit under that right now, with because if you multiply 9,200 times 4, that does not equal 24,000. I think it's somewhere around 36, but it's up to 4 times. So 24,000 is what I can trade with when the market's open. And then because Webull's awesome and has extended hours, you can also trade in extended overnight hours, which I have 2 times. So 4 times for the day trade, 2 times for overnight. I will tell you, and I'm gonna be transparent right here, right at the point, I actually don't trade with margin. Even though I have it available here, I don't do it, and I'll explain why in just a moment. The cash balance right here, I wanna dig into this for a second. You see it says $55.90. That is my cash. I can do whatever I want with it. I got that cash because I either 1, transferred money in from my bank account, 2, got dividends from dividend-paying stocks or ETFs, or 3, I sold a share of stock or ETF, and when you sell, that goes into your cash balance. Now, I can take that and transfer it into my bank account, or I can buy some additional ETFs or stock. So I can do that in many different ways. I'll link a video up above on how you can buy stocks in Webull, because that's not the point of today's video, but I can take that $55.90 and do whatever I want with it. So let me choose KBWY here. It's going for $22.25 a share. I can actually buy one because I have $55.90, so I can buy a full share of that, and it would go through and process out of my cash balance. I could actually get 2 shares because you can see the estimated amount is $44.50 and I have $55. So I have enough to afford 2 shares of stock. Now, I could also go a little bit crazy, okay? I can go above my cash balance, and that's where margin comes into play. So I can go back to KBWY and look what I can do. I can buy, look at that, 1,073 shares of KBWY. Look at the price, $23,874. That would mean I'm trading on margin. When you trade on margin, Webull is gonna charge you an interest fee. That's kind of how it works. If you follow me for any period of time, you know right now my big focus is I want to pay off our mortgage early. I want to pay it off early so we can become asset millionaires. I don't want to have debt. I don't want to owe money to anybody, and I hate paying extra money just to have debt. Kills me. And that's kind of what margin does for you. I'm going to pull up right here on the screen so you can check it out with me exactly what these guys are charging you when you trade on margin. So for your first $0 to $25,000, if you have that leverage in your margin account, as I showed you right here on the screen, they're gonna charge you a margin rate of 6.99%. And then you can see as it goes up, if you have some crazy margin that you're trading on, let's say you're Meet Kevin and you got millions of dollars and you're trading on margin, your interest rate of course goes down a little bit, or I should say your margin rate goes down the more that you use, but it isn't a waterfall effect. So for example, if you trade up to $25,000, you'll have 6.99. But as you trade now $26,000, $27,000, $28,000, $29,000, it will then be 6.99% on the first $25,000 and then 6.49% on the next $5,000, whatever that would be. So let's say you got $30,000, you got 6.99% trading on the first $25,000 and then 6.49% trading on the next $5,000. And this kind of happens with any brokerage. Any brokerage that you borrow on margin, you are going to have to pay a margin rate, which I look at it as a debt interest rate. That's kind of how I look at that. And you can do a couple things with that. A lot of people do a lot of day trading with margin. They think, okay, this stock right here is about to go up. I'm going to trade on margin. I'm going to buy a bunch of shares and I'm going to sell it in the same day, cover my margin rate because I'm going to make more money than the 6.99% or whatever that percentage is, and then take the profits and run. There's a couple problems I have with that. First of all, again, I don't like trading on debt. I don't like the risk of the casino of saying, okay, well, what if something weird happens and it does fall down, or it doesn't rise as much as I wanted it to, and then I'll end up having to pay extra money because it only rose 3% and I'm on a margin rate of 6.99%. Oh, if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, this is too much information. That is why I focus on investment apps for beginners, because I don't like margin. I would rather say, look, I'm gonna find a way to transfer about $100 in or $55 in, and I'm only gonna use my cash balance to trade. That way, down below here on my Webull account, as we just explored, everything I have invested is my tried and true hard-earned income. It's not some margin rate. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, before I get to the bonus tip on how to make sure that you're performing well in Webull, I do want to pay some respects to our desktop users. A lot of people have been asking me for what does this look like from a desktop perspective in Webull. So I'm going to pull that up right now. Okay, so here we are on the desktop. I'll be honest, I use the app more than the desktop, so bear with me as I go through this. So you got the net account value right here at the top, just like we saw on the app. And then right over here on the left, you can see here is my day trade BP and my overnight BP, very similar to what we saw on the app, and then the cash balance. So same type of deal here. If you go into this and then you basically buy a share of stock or an ETF, you just got to remember for yourself to use your cash balance only. The moment you step above that cash balance, you're going to start trading on margin, and boom, 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 here come the margin rates. Now don't forget, if you're finding this stuff helpful, smash that like button down below. Certainly would appreciate it, and so would the YouTube algorithm. Now, I promised you guys some bonus tips here. You know, it's not about cash or margin on this bonus tip. It's about how well are you performing. And you can see right here at the top, I have my app screen up again. It says open P&L. That means profit and loss. Now, of course, right now today, in my poor, sad example, I am losing money. So I am down, okay, it's jumping around here, but I'm at $98. I'm gonna round that because, you know, it's gonna keep hopping around. But I am down for today. This means for today. That doesn't mean overall. In order to find overall, there's a couple things you can do. Because it shows that open P&L, it's trying to tell you that is what's going on today, just so you can stay plugged in with the day's activity. But what you want to do is come down here to the center and click on performance. Once you click on performance, that's where you can start to see what's going on. So if I go all the way to the left, that means 5 days. This is what my performance is in the last 5 days. You can see I'm down 54.86 in the last 5 days. I can hop over to a month. You can see I'm down 41.86. And by the way, the market's acting up right now. I'm not worried about it. And you never, ever, 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 ever sell when the market's down. If you sell, that's like jumping off a roller coaster in the middle of the ride. You don't do that. You wait till the roller coaster gets back up, and then you can decide if you want to exit safely once it returns to the station. If you're jumping off and you're nervous and you're scared and you're selling at a loss, you're doing it all wrong, guys. You're not investing for the long term. You're trying to chase this dream of getting rich overnight. And what's going to happen is that your fellow sweet lifers are going to live the sweet life because they were smart and they were looking at what is the long term in this game. So if you keep going, I had some very bad ordeals going on here. See 3 months, 6 months. You can see a little bit of a pop there that happened. I was in the green, things were looking good. And then I made some bad decisions of, buying some shares that started tanking. I will tell you that NEO is down, not worried about it. I'm holding on for the long game. I'm not gonna sell it because again, I don't jump off a roller coaster at the wrong moment. But that's what's kind of bringing me down right now are these big tech stocks. But again, I know they're gonna bounce back. I got my Apple, I got my NEO, and I'm just gonna keep riding the wave until they start coming back up. So anyway, that's how you see that. And then you can say, is my portfolio growing the way I want? Or is my strategy the way I want it to be? Now I'll tell you, I could sit here and say, oh my gosh, I lost $532, I'm screwed. I'm not worried about that. Because again, you gotta invest with money you're okay losing. And what happens with that is you're playing the long game, and then a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, you're gonna look at this and that number is gonna be different. Typically, it's going to be in the positive. Go Google the S&P 500 average rate of return over its course of period of time. You're going to see it gives you a number of about 10%. So if you look over the average of all the highs and all the lows and all the recessions and depressions and everything that happened, the S&P has grown on average 10%, which means that eventually this will turn green if I hold for the long game. And that's kind of the game and the goal of what I'm doing with my account. So hop over to that performance and really pay attention to say, okay, this is what's going on. This is how I feel good about it. And another thing you can do is you can look at your dividends that are coming in. You gotta buy dividend paying stocks if you're interested in getting paid dividends. That means every share of a company that you own, they're gonna pay you either on a monthly or a quarterly basis simply for just owning a share of their stocks. Pretty darn cool. There is a dividend video coming, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out when that video drops. But if this video was helpful, tap that like button down below. Make sure you comment if you have any other questions that you want to see me address in a future video. And until next time, check out these other Webull videos that will help you get a little bit more intuitive with this awesome app. We'll see you next time on the next video.